So for me, like I default to thyme, like I trust it, I know what it's going to do.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. Hey, it's Rosalee. You know, creating this podcast has been one of the most rewarding parts of my herbal work. And if you found something meaningful here, whether it's a new perspective, a favorite recipe, or just a sense of calm, I want to let you know there's a good way to go even deeper. It's called the Podcast Circle. Inside, you'll get access to live classes taught by some of my favorite herbal teachers, behind-the-scenes updates, and a beautiful library of herbal resources that we've gathered over the years. But more than that, it's a space to connect with fellow plant lovers who care about the same things you do. And truly, your membership helps make this podcast possible. It's how we keep the episodes coming and the herbal goodness flowing. So if you're ready to be part of something more, something rooted in connection, head over to herbalpodcastcircle.com. I'd love to see you there. This episode will be a reminder of how potent and powerful your kitchen remedies can be. In fact, you'll hear how the simple herb, thyme, kept our guest from having to go to the hospital and ultimately dramatically shifted her entire life. It was so great to connect with Orna. I hadn't seen her for many years, and I love so many parts of this conversation, whether it was her focus on herbs being accessible and easy, or the fantastic description she gave of how using thyme in two different ways at the same time exponentially increases its medicinal effects. For those of you who don't already know her, Dr. Orna Izakson is a licensed naturopathic doctor and registered herbalist practicing in Alaska and Oregon, specializing in mental health, women's health, and chronic disease. She spent 6 years as the founding lead physician of the Traditional Roots Institute at National University of Natural Medicine. She served on the Gaia Herbs Science Advisory Board and is a current faculty member of Psychiatry Redefined. Dr. Izakson previously was an award-winning environmental newspaper reporter contributing to books on climate change and healthy living. She continues her mission of educating the public about plant medicine, mental health, and clinical nutrition as a public speaker and online educator. Dr. Izakson is Vice President of the Alaska Association of Naturopathic Doctors and founder of the Naturopathic Climate Alliance. Orna, I'm so thrilled to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Rosalee. It is so great to see you.
Oh, well, this is so great to see you. This has been a long time coming. We go way back. I just feel like you've always been a part of my herbal experience, and it's been a long time since we've connected. So this is lovely to see you. And I was thinking, because I just feel like I've known you for as long as I've been an herbalist, really. Like, you've just always been a presence there for me. And because of that, sometimes you feel like you know people because they've been around for so long, but I actually know nothing about your herbal story and what got you on the herbal path. So I'm excited to hear that from you.
Just cut me off if I go too long, because sometimes my stories are long stories.
All right, let's hear it.
So I was born a small child, and I was the kid who always was into plants, but I lived in a city, so I didn't really have like a context for it. So I would get like money for my birthday, and I'd go buy a stupidly expensive plant that I would kill. And it's like, I just loved them, but I didn't really have a framework to understand why or what to do. It just wasn't part of my universe. And then, like so many people in healing, I got sick.
Yeah.
So I was living in LA. I had asthma. It got worse and worse and worse. It was actually like kind of comical, tragicomical at the end. And I ended up in the hospital for 5 days with an IV in my arm. Yay, Western medicine that keeps people alive. And after that, I was told, I left LA. After that, I was told that every time I got a cold or a flu for the rest of my life, I would need to be on steroids. So, a year later, however much later, I got a cold. It moved down into my chest. My doctor put me on prednisone and then went on vacation. I took it. I didn't know how to get off it.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't there. And so like a bunch of other people went through and finally somebody was like, just stop. And I had menopause symptoms at 25.
Wow.
And like, this is intense. This is not my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I gently said F you to my doctor and tried to figure things out. But again, not a lot of frame of reference, didn't really know people who were working in anything other than like hospital clinical settings. Mm-hmm. And I got confused and overwhelmed and I never wanted to do medicine. So I'm like, I'm going to outsource this. Meanwhile, I had left the city and I had fallen in love with wild places and nature, sort of found this part of myself that I couldn't even have imagined living in New York City where I grew up. And I really wanted to put my energy into wild places and nature. And I figured the best way to do that was to be a journalist. The best way, given what I could do, that I was good at and liked, was to be an environmental journalist. So I went to journalism school and again, outsourcing my health. And so I did that. And I lived in the Midwest and I lived on the East Coast and I lived on the West Coast. And then 10 years or so later, I got sick and it went into my lungs. And I had that like, I'm going to need to go to the hospital feeling. At this point, I'm living in Eugene, Oregon, and everyone's an environmentalist and everyone's an herbalist. So gave me a bunch of herbs and they didn't really do much. And I'm like, yeah, it's not getting better. And she said, talk to my herb teacher. And I did. And she added 2 herbs to my neighbor's protocol. One was a plant that grew in the mountains where I would hang out with my friends and go hiking and camping and stuff. And the other was growing in my garden. And it was that light bulb moment of medicine does not only exist in a doctor's office. Medicine is in our kitchens, in our gardens, in our neighborhoods, in our wild places. And that like sort of broke that learned helplessness of like, there's nothing I can do. I'm completely dependent on somebody else. Like I still feel that way about like car repair. I can't do it when something happens. It's super stressful. Yeah. And this is like, oh no, I have agency. I have things I can learn and things I can do. And at this point in my journalism world, I was writing about fisheries, forests, climate change. And it was getting really hard to keep doing that. And so I started thinking maybe I should do something else. And I basically took an herb class and I'm like, maybe this will be enough. It'll scratch my journalist's itch to know more. And then I don't have to keep going. And so I did a 400-hour herb class and I'm like, nope, not done. And then I studied with a local herb teacher who does bioregional herbalism, wildcrafting, and botany.
Who is that?
Howie Brownstein.
I figured. That was my assumption. Hello, Howie.
Yeah, everybody I know, like all my friends, they studied with Colette Gardner, who was my first major herb teacher, and Howie Brownstein. Like we all did like this thing. And so I'm taking Howie's classes, and we're in the field, and he's introducing me to these plants that I've been around for years. And I'm like, oh, that's who you are. Like, it's like you go to a party and you
Mm,
see all the same faces, but you've never met them. Like, you don't know their
mm,
names or really anything about them. Like, we used to have these parties, and there was this one couple that would come, and my then partner and I would be like, it's them, the people we don't know who come to all our parties. And so we're out in the woods, and I'm like, oh, you're this, and oh, you're that. You're the one that saved me. And
mm.
so the
I
two
have to
herbs,
know who that is too.
so the two herbs, the one that was growing in the mountains was Oshala, Oregon Osha, Ligusticum,
That was
Orna
my guess.
Izakson, and the one in my garden was thyme.
All
So
right.
like the Oshala, I had to go to the store to get that time that I was so sick. But the
Hmm.
thyme was in my garden, and
Hmm.
I was it was recommended that I steam with thyme, and
Mm,
like that's the the flexion point in my career.
mm. Oh, I love
So
that. That like so like kind of this like simple folklore kind of like practice may is a huge turning point in your life. I love it.
and just that the accessibility of herbs.
Mhm.
Like sometimes we get to this place where even herbal medicine feels really inaccessible. It's really expensive. Like there are certain things that, like if I can talk about other herbs, like elderberry syrup, which if you make it yourself, super inexpensive. But if you go to the store, a 2 ounce bottle, which is like not even a day,
Mhm.
is $32 or something.
Yeah.
So herbalism has sort of shifted, like it's super popular, but that shift to the accessible part of it, that's part of the beauty of it. Like
Mhm.
we have to shift that part too and keep
Mhm. Yeah, well said. All right, so you studied with Colette, you studied with Howie, and I know, spoiler, your itch still wasn't itched.
No, I kept going, and I went to naturopathic medical school, and I graduated. I survived it, and I graduated, and I'm licensed and practice telemedicine in Oregon and Alaska. And I have further certification. I actually wrote it down. Oh, and what are the other things? There are three of them, and I can only remember two now. Um, but in functional medicine for mental health and
Mhm.
in climate aware therapy. So
Hmm.
coming back around to the whole climate thing.
Mm.
And there's 6 years in there where I ran a program through the naturopathic university that I went to that was public facing about herbal medicine. So
Mm.
training public and practitioners about herbal medicine.
Yeah, that is something that, I remember from you as well, and you also served at Gaia Herbs too, which is a company that, I don't promote a lot of companies, but I will say I do like Gaia Herbs a lot, and their products are fantastic.
Yeah, I was on their science advisory board for a year, and it was really interesting to get to go there and see like a lot of there are multiple herb companies that are really doing amazing work, and Gaia is absolutely one of them.
Mm,
And getting to see their whole scene there well in advance of Helene, and to
mhm,
really feel like I can picture the places that were affected by Helene.
mm,
And, I have friends there independently of this. So
mhm,
just a reminder, we're all connected. We're all in this together, like
mhm,
it or not.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, and so for people who don't know, Gaia Herbs is based there, right? And they have like, facilities as well. I'm not sure if they grow there as well, but yeah.
They grow some of their herbs there. They grow a lot of their herbs there, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they have just like they're very enmeshed in the community
Mm,
in terms of supporting it. They do lovely stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes, Orna, I need to ask guests, like, why did you choose the plant that you chose? I'm starting to get an idea of why you might have chose the plant that you chose. I just love that origin story too of just the, Oshala being out in the mountains, thyme being in your garden, and those two herbs making a profound difference in your ability uh, to recover, from your illness. So it's
Yeah, I
really
should just say I didn't end up having to go to the hospital. It
oh,
worked.
good. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Just to
Yeah.
come to the end of that story.
Yeah. That's like you said, it's so great to have Western medicine when we need life-saving things. And how many people could be saved a trip to the hospital and invasive medicine, with these, if we just kind of do like an ABCD approach, before the hospital is needed, we try other things first. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. And keep all options on the table. Like, I
absolutely.
didn't want to go to the hospital, but I knew what it would feel like if I didn't, if it
Hmm.
got to a certain point. So it's like, I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah. The other thing that struck me, Arna, is we are both prednisone folks. That is also what brought me in my one of my stories of my entryway into herbalism. But I was also given very large amounts of prednisone, and eventually was like, man, there has to be a better way. And luckily, there was. So, yeah, I guess I could be a little thankful to prednisone for like being the like climatic push of there must be a better way. Yeah.
I just really clearly remember what it was like going into the hospital and being unable to breathe, and like an hour with the IV in my arm and not even realizing, oh, I feel normal. Like,
Oh, yeah. When I was on prednisone, I thought I was Superwoman. I was like, "This is the most amazing stuff I've ever taken in my life." That lasted for, like, 2 days, and then I was like, "Wait, what is the cost?" Like, not financially, but I mean, to my body, and I was like, "Wait a second." So
I didn't have any of the fun superwoman stuff.
oh, yeah, I did. It was amazing.
I just like had the fun being able to breathe stuff.
Yeah,
Which
well, that's
I'm a
good.
fan of.
Yeah, yeah, breathing's good. Well, Orna, let's jump into thyme. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share about this lovely plant.
I feel like I don't do time justice because I really mostly use it as, a culinary herb and an antimicrobial herb. And you did a beautiful podcast on the energetics that it was like, oh yeah, 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 that makes so much sense. Um, but for me, it was, it's my epiphany herb.
Mhm.
So my gateway herb. And let me tell you two stories.
All right.
One story, it was after I had done 2 years of herb school, but before I started medical school. I was up in Alaska. It was my first time there. And we're on the edge of literally the biggest wilderness in North America, biggest wilderness complex in North America.
Mm.
And a friend had a callus on her foot from wearing Tevas or Chacos or whatever all summer, and it split and her foot was swelling. And the group of us were hanging out, and I'm like one gin and tonic into the evening, which is probably too much information. But she mentioned this, and I'm like, I can help. So I shambled across the dirt street to the wilderness, like literally that was the edge of the wilderness.
Mm.
I'm looking around for plants, and anyway, I found a bunch of plants to help. So I was looking for planting, and I couldn't find it because this area was so recently deglaciated that it wasn't a weed there yet.
Yeah.
Like, so I switched gears from I know this one plant to I want this herbal action, and I found rose, and I looked. Remember, I'm drunk. I looked up. I was like, willow. We can do pain and astringent. And there was yarrow, which is one of my other absolute favorite plants, but I didn't know it well enough to completely trust it as an antimicrobial. But I knew that they were growing thyme in their garden. So I asked somebody to go get some thyme. We put it all into a bowl, poured hot water over it, let it sit for a while, had her put her foot in it. So like she put her foot in, and she's like, am I done? Like, no. And she's like walking around the party, dragging her foot in this bowl. We did a couple of changes of water, and then like covered it for the night, and she was better the next day. So one of the things, so for me, like I default to thyme, like I trust it, I know it, I know what it's going to do. And then another thing,
But for that story, like she still has her foot, everything turned out
oh
well.
yeah. The swelling went down. We were going to
Nice.
go for a walk on the glacier, but she didn't think she could get her foot into a boot, so
Mm.
she was fine the next day.
Oh, good.
And then, we know the thyme, like the aromatics that make it so antimicrobial also make it really useful for digestion. That's mostly how we know it, right? We put it in our salad dressings, we put it on our food so that it tastes good. But part of the reason it tastes good is that we have co evolved. It helps us not get sick, and we help it disperse in the world. And I loved your story about um, you were in France, weren't you, where you saw the wild thyme, or was that someplace
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. Yeah. In southern France.
I would so love to see that. In my first herb class, we had a student in our group who was from Greece, and
Mm.
her father's name was Timio.
Ah.
And she would talk about the wild thyme, and I've never seen it in the wild.
Mm.
So that's a thing to hope for. So we know it as this culinary herb that protects us from microbes in our food, helps us digest food, helps protect us from food that might be a little bit beyond when we should be eating it, helps with gas, all of these things. And after I had become an herbalist, and I think I was already a doctor by then, I was hanging out with my mom, and she made this zucchini dish with a lot of thyme. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of thyme. And she said, Orna, herbs make everything better.
Hmm.
What you said. And she didn't say that as an herbalist, just as
Hmm.
like a person living a life.
Hmm.
And so I love that we have it's like going to the woods and meeting those friends that I hadn't been introduced to. We
Hmm.
have these friends that we hang out with all the time that we don't know all the facets of them.
Hmm.
And so just it's nice to know we have friends all around us.
Mm. Oh, beautifully said, Orna. Yeah, thyme. I think if I could only have one culinary herb, it would be thyme and garlic and pepper and but thyme is very far up on my list. I love thyme. Like there's not a soup that I don't think could be improved with thyme. And yeah, we have it all the time. And the salad dressings, it was interesting you said that because we often put thyme in our salad dressings as well. And yeah, I think it's underrated on so many levels, both in how it tastes, because I think what happens with a lot of people who maybe aren't herbalists or aren't really into cooking is thyme is something that you can buy and let sit in your spice cabinet for a long time. And then by the time you use it, there's like not a lot there to it. You know, the aromatics are gone, the flavor's gone. You lose just how wonderful this plant is, but you get some good thyme, freshly dried thyme, fresh thyme. Oh, it's just incredible.
And I think it's like I find it stays potent for a long time. Part of it's what you're comparing it to. So, you're comparing it to freshly picked wild thyme.
Mm,
And so you know what it can be. And a lot
mm,
of people don't. But I know there's still utility, even when it's kind of old and meh.
mm,
And that's its own magic, right?
mm. Yeah, it is quite potent, that's for sure. Yeah. I grow my own and then but lately I've been kind of honestly a little bit lazy about it because garbling time is kind of a, a big deal. So to garble it, that has those tiny little sticks, little stems, woody stems that need to be pulled out of the tiny little leaves. And so, yeah, now I let other people do that for me on the larger scale because we just go through so much time otherwise. And then I let the time in my garden go to flower. And it is amazing how many pollinators, all sorts of bees. Like we have a lot of native bees here. We also have hives on our property. So yeah,
Mm.
there's the bees that are on the thyme are just incredible.
And if you don't have a garden, you can grow it in a pot on a windowsill. So
Mm, good tip.
basically anybody can grow it. But if
Hmm.
you do have a garden, there are so many different kinds of thyme, even among the culinary thymes. They have like different colors of flowers. I have one in my front yard that mostly looks dead. And then when it flowers, and I'm in Western Oregon, it's gray for 9 months of the year. And when it flowers, it's like neon purple. Like,
Mm.
what?
Yeah, a very dangerous activity is to go to Strictly Medicinal Herbs and read all of the descriptions for like the 10 different times they have. I
Yeah.
did that and now I grow many different times because it's very difficult to like they all sound amazing. So how do you decide? I got all of them. So yeah, I have a lot of time now.
Trying to remember when it was. It was after I lived in Maine. I went back and I was already an herbalist and probably in med school or through med school. And I went to Maine and I got to hang out with Deb Soul at
Mm.
Avena Herbals. And they have amazing gardens. And they had this one circle, and I don't remember what was in the middle of the circle, but this whole circle, like big, like the size of a house, this circle. And it was a carpet of thyme.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, what a brilliant idea.
Mm. Oh, how lovely. You got to see those gardens.
And hang out with Deb.
Yeah, she's on my podcast wish list. Deb Solis. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah. And so we've talked about time for culinary and we've already mentioned the steam, but I'd love to talk about that more. You've shared a wonderful recipe with us for us, and listeners can download that recipe at herbswithrosalieepodcast.com or check out the show notes. And so we've already mentioned it. And again, I love how powerful this is. And the herbal steam should be in all of our back pockets when we're sick. I mean, it's just a really incredible facet of medicine. And like you said, very accessible. Anyway, I'll let you take over now.
Well, so in the story that I told about my friend's foot and getting the aromatics onto the surface where you want them to do their antimicrobial work,
Mhm.
like when you've got a sinus infection or a lung infection and you want to get antimicrobial herbs onto those surfaces, you don't want to inhale tea. That would kill you, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get the herbs there? And these the aromatics aromatize, they volatilize, they go up into the air. So if you put them into steam, they're literally in those droplets that you can inhale and get the medicine where you need it. The
Mhm.
steam itself helps loosen stuck stuff.
Mhm.
And then if you pair it with internal antimicrobials, especially aromatics, you've got this great thing that happens on the tissues of the lungs. So you've got the thyme coming in from the outside, and I need more hands. So you've got the thyme coming in from the outside and working antimicrobially on the exterior facing surface. But then if you pair it with aromatics systemically, you've got these volatile oils that want to volatilize. They want to turn into gas and leave the system. And they don't just come up your throat. They literally, when they get to the surface of the lungs, you've got the capillaries there, they bubble through the lungs. So they disinfect in this direction while you have thyme disinfecting in this direction. And that's the brilliance of this internal and steam combination. So, like you said, if you could only choose one culinary herb, I think the first or second on your list of three that were one was garlic. And we have this idea that garlic breath is from our mouth, but it's not. It's from our breath. It's the aromatics coming, among other things. It's the aromatics bubbling out through our lungs. So it's
Mm.
not our mouth. It's our breath. And if you know people who are super, super into herbal medicine and they love garlic and they do a ton of garlic, it'll be in their sweat. Like they'll walk into the room and you'll smell it. Some of us like that. Not everybody does. So if you're going to visit family and they're not so into it, just know it's not brushing your teeth is not enough. But then you've got the garlic or the onions and those sulfur compounds that are doing the disinfecting work. And they also work on a chemical structural level, the sulfur compounds, to change the conformation of the mucus. So when you've got globby, sticky mucus and you put in sulfur compounds from onions and garlic, it changes their shape from this to this. So they slide and they do the thing that mucus is supposed to do, make everything slippery and move. So
Mm.
that's, one example of a pairing. And then I wanted to say that in early 2020, I had it was a cold. It was a cold. And it sort of got better and then wasn't all the way better and then got worse and then get better, but wasn't all the way better and then got worse. It was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, I was in a friend's house in the middle of nowhere in Arizona. It was really cold and I was not feeling well. And I heard this, I had an angel on my shoulder. It was an herbalist ND friend of mine who had recently died, like quickly and unexpectedly died. And I heard her saying to me, use your tools, Orna. I'm like, I don't want to disappoint Mahalia. But my friend whose house it was, and he wasn't there, he's the kind of bachelor that cooking means takeout or microwave. And so I'm like, surely he has time. No, he didn't have time. But he had a probably ancient bottle of herbs de Provence. So many recipes for making it, but lavender is one of the ingredients. Thyme is one of the ingredients. I'm like, I'll try it. And again, it's the magic. So, when we were talking about the power of fresh thyme, and I'm like, don't write off the old weak stuff. I used old weak stuff and it made a big difference.
Oh, that's
So
great.
don't be stuck on, this is not to you, but people listening, it doesn't have to be thyme that you use for this. That's my favorite because of my comfort level with the antimicrobials, my experience with the herbs. It's known for being healing to mucous membranes, specifically in the respiratory tract. But don't be stuck on using thyme. There are plenty of other things you can use if you don't have it. So you can use an herb blend that has it in it. You can use oregano. You can use many of the aromatic mints. In my neighborhood, people plant like all sorts of trees, and a lot of people have eucalyptus. So if you know where there's a eucalyptus tree and you've spoken in advance with the neighbor, like you can take a couple of leaves off of that and use that. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a clinical aromatherapist and chemist, like she's like super science. She's like, you can also use lemon peel. I don't remember what the constituent is that specifically is active in lemon peel, but it's got some of the same effects. So there are a lot of different ways to use this tool, but thyme is like my old tried and true friend.
Lovely. Will you describe an herbal steam for folks who might not be familiar with it?
So you take some thyme or herb or whatever in your hand, put it in a bowl, you pour boiling water over it, and I should have brought a towel, but I didn't. So you pour the boiling water over it, and then you make a tent with a towel, and you stick your head under it, and you breathe in the steam. And that's it.
It's like a mini sauna.
Yeah. I don't reuse the herb because you're going to cough into it, you're going to sneeze into it, you're going to drip into it. People are like, can you do it again? Like, no. You might still smell stuff, but most of it's already out in the air. The water is gross. Just use more. And having experimented with this because it seemed really easy, I do not recommend using essential oils for this purpose because it will volatilize really fast, and it's like putting a drop of really hot caustic herb onto membranes that are already really unhappy with you. It hurts. And essential oils use a ton of plant matter, and it's a process that most of us can't replicate at home. So there's a lot that goes into making an essential oil that I don't think is necessary when a handful of elderly herb will get you the same benefit.
Hmm. Yeah, there's something that's just so good about the whole herb. Like if, like you said, the essential oils can burn. They can be very strong, caustic. I love an herbal steam, and herbal steams are great when we're sick, but they're also just great as like a way to relax. You can use them as part of like a facial kind of thing. They're just so lovely, and just that smell is just like it's so rich. It feels really good, kind of almost on a soul level, really.
So when I have my patients who are parents, especially moms, who they're sick, I'm like, this is mom time.
Mm,
Well, this is not like, oh, I have to do something outside of what I have to do
hmm.
because I'm sick. I have to do the thing. It's like spa day for your face, for your sinuses, for your lungs. This is
Hmm.
special mom time. So
Love it.
totally. And again, you can put in thyme, you can put in, lavender, lemon, all of these different things that can, whatever helps you enjoy the experience if you have access to it.
Hmm. Yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
And just one last thing, you can do it
Absolutely.
prophylactically. You can, or
Mm,
first sign of something to nip things in the bud. I have
mm,
a cousin who doesn't listen to anything I say, but he started doing this,
mm,
and they don't get sick.
mm.
They're like,
I really love that description that you shared, by the way, of the dual action. Yeah, this thing that you shared. I love that. Because it really, I mean, just saying prophylactically while we're sick, you can just see what a strong aspect that is. And I hadn't heard that explanation before with um, going into the lungs in that way. So that's really lovely too. Herbs are so cool.
ours are so cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about time, Orna?
Have I said enough?
You've said so much. I just didn't want to cut you off. I always like to give the last option.
I would just say, for folks who haven't listened to Rosalee's podcast on time, go listen to that.
Oh, thanks, Orna. That's very sweet of you. Well, thank you for sharing time. I love it when guests share herbs that are so important to them, and like you said, your epiphany herb. I just think that's so lovely, and this herb that now you get to grow and have a continued relationship with. It's just really beautiful. So thank you for sharing all of that. And I'd love to hear what kind of projects that you're working on, what kind of things are going on in your herbal world.
Well, I'm doing a lot of speaking on herbs and mostly mental health. I've got in March. I know this is going to go live after that, but this will be available later. I'm doing a talk for the American College of Healthcare Sciences about herbs for mental health and sustainability, and specifically like
Mhm.
eco anxiety. So that's a big area that I'm interested in. I know you said not to list too many things, but one thing I'm super
You can
excited
list
about,
everything you want, Orna. Everything you want.
just edit it out when it's too much. Um, about a year ago, I started the Naturopathic Climate Alliance. So I'm looking at the effects of climate on medicinal food, plant foods and medicines.
Mm,
So not just like abundance, but biochemical changes and what this means for what our herbs can do and how they are changing and what we need to watch out for. And I don't know, I'll send you the link if I didn't send it to you already, but it's ndclimate.org. So it's mostly just a bunch of links, but if anybody wants to geek out on that. And then the big thing I'm working on it right now is a course that's really intended for patients
mhm,
or people who are patients of anybody.
mhm,
Uh, the idea is a user's guide or user's guide to the body. So, like, what do you need to know to maintain your best health? And if you are seeing doctors, how to get the most out of doctor visits, how to not get, hopefully, give you people information so they don't get lost in explanations. They know how to advocate for themselves and just know a little bit more. And this is stuff that I talk about with patients in office visits,
mhm,
but we're doing so much that sometimes, all you can focus on is, I have to do this next step, not here's all the stuff about blood sugar and why it matters for the things that I have to do. So
mhm.
one piece of that is going to be about immune and supporting the immune system. And I have a free immune resilience action guide. And one of the things in there is steaming with thyme. So, so that's a way that people can get started with this and find out about the bigger project when that class is done, which will hopefully be this summer or fall.
Oh, cool. I noticed earlier when you were talking about your story, and you said several times you were outsourcing your health, and this seems like a cool program in a way for people to resource their health and understand, these things, like you said, to get the key aspects of staying healthy back in their own hands.
Yeah. Or at least understand what's going on, demystify it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's why that works. Oh, that's why I'm supposed to do this or not supposed to do that.
Mm.
Because people don't,
Yeah, and like you
they're
said, there's only so much time in an office visit, so
yeah,
yeah.
and people just don't know. Even people who are really smart and really well informed, there's just a lot of stuff that, people who do health coaching or doctors or practitioners, like we're steeped in it. So, we're like, well, everybody knows this, but people really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us and sharing it with the world. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before you go, owner, I have one last question, and that is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
I'm not naturally the most, well, it's a hard time to have hope right now.
Mm,
And I love this question
mm,
because it reminds me of the first indoor herbal conference I ever went to. And I'm pretty sure it was David Hoffman was giving a keynote speech. And I'm going to not say it as elegantly as he said it, but the idea was herbalists don't burn out because we have this two-way relationship with the plants. We feed each other. We're interconnected. It's that you go to the woods or you go to the garden and there are these people at the party and we don't necessarily have the same culture or speak the same language, but we're part of this thing together. And I think this is animating for a lot of herbalists, particularly those of us who work with whole plants, the genius of whole plants, I think you were saying, as opposed to just things in a bottle, just things in a capsule, just super standardized extracts of active constituents, whatever. Like working with the whole plant and feeling how vibrant thyme can be, seeing those flowers. I think a lot of us feel that whether we have the language for it or not. Like when I was saying when I was a kid and I would buy all these plants, like I didn't have the experience of this, like to use Robin Wall Kimmerer's term, reciprocity of like, I'm giving to it, it's giving to me. How do we keep giving back? How do we keep that feedback loop going?
mhm,
And the thing that makes, my mother's quote, herbs make everything better, is
mhm,
true. But being with plants and being in beings that communicate differently and have a different culture and being out of our doom scrolling, out of our heads in
mhm,
the way we are with a lot of humans and the people who get plants, and it's not going to be plants for everybody, it'll be something else for other people. But that connection with plants, and for me, the connection with place, is the thing that refills my cup.
mhm,
So for me, it's kind of a nebulous answer, but that's where I find hope is
mm.
in connection and sense of community that is often easier for me to find with plants and nature and wild places.
Mm. That's beautiful, Orna. Yeah, when we were first chatting, I was sharing how much I walk these days, and that I feel like is my solace and my hope, and it's the action of walking is wonderful, and I love that and being active. but it's also the connection of being out there in the forest that surround my home and just feeling that connection is a really powerful way to be grounded, to find hope. And today I heard a pig meow on my morning walk. And there's just something, I didn't get to see it, but I heard it. And there's such cute little owls. And yeah, there's just the joy that comes from that. And and it gets wrapped up together, the joy, the hope, the awe, the beauty. And like you said, it's I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's another level to find that in a bottle of pills versus the plants themselves.
Right. The bottles of pills, it's hard. People do it, but it's not as easy to make friends with the pill bottle. People find ways to do it. Like they literally do. But you find the spirit in the concrete. But
absolutely.
It's easier, and there is that feedback from living things. Not so much from pills.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Orna. I'm so happy to have you on the show. It's great to connect with you and hear about your epiphany plant and hear your stories. It was also lovely.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for this wonderful podcast that you do. I was binging earlier today and being like, oh, wow, ooh, ah. So thank you so much for doing your work, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you, Orna. It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card. There you'll also be able to sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. You can find more about Orna at her website, drorna.net. If you'd like more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Emily Thomas Anderson is the project manager who oversees the entire podcast operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes and on and on. I often tell people, I just show up. Emily does most of the heavy lifting. Nicole Paul is the operator for the entire Herbs with Rosalee school and community. She keeps an eagle-eye view on everything to ensure it's running smoothly. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusakova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them, and I know you love them. Once the illustration is ready, Jenny creates the recipe cards as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Alex is our behind-the-scenes tech support and social media manager, and Karen and Emily are our student services coordinators and community support. If you've written in with a question, undoubtedly you got help from them. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. Thank you so much for your support through your comments, reviews, and ratings. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts on thyme. And I'm also curious, do you have an epiphany herb? Maybe an herb that shifted your life in a dramatic way? I'd love to hear about it. Okay, you've lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get a gold star and this herbal tidbit. Orna mentioned that garlic and thyme are a fantastic combo, and I definitely agree. One of my favorite things to do when I first feel like a cold or a flu coming on is to mix raw garlic with a bit of olive oil and thyme, and then I put that on toast. Raw garlic is so potent, especially at the beginning of a cold or flu, but if you eat too much of it, it can easily upset your belly. So blending it with oil and thyme and toast makes it much easier to digest while still delivering all the benefits of these powerful herbs. Thank you for joining me on this herbal adventure. See you next time. Hi, it's Rosalee. If this podcast has brought you inspiration or grounded you in your love of herbs, I'd love to invite you to join the podcast circle. Your membership helps support the show, and it gives you access to live herbal classes, exclusive resources, and a warm community of fellow plant lovers. Learn more and join us at herbalpodcastcircle.com. Your support truly helps this podcast thrive. Thank you.